Now, as the electric vehicles, EV makers race towards safer and more socially responsible options like lithium ferrophosphate LFP batteries, there's growing worry about the Democratic Republic of Congo losing its grip on the cobalt market. The Democratic Republic of Congo is the world's largest producer of cobalt, according to data. Now, cobalt is used in the manufacturing of almost all lithium-ion rechargeable batteries used in the world today. Chinan Dikwa, energy expert and vice chair, African Energy Council, joins me. Good afternoon, Chinan. The Democratic Republic of Congo provides up to 70% of the global cobalt supply. Thus, the country continued to hold its dominance as leading supplier of battery materials for electric vehicles, since there's a shift now to LFP, of which we see the lion's share is located in Morocco.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me on the call. Absolutely spot on. DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo, has been the leader in the supply of cobalt. It's very unique to them. 70% of global cobalt supply comes from the Congo. Unfortunately, fairly recently, innovation and R&D has pushed towards LFP, which is what you were saying there, lithium pyrophosphate. So that's a new material that everybody is pivoting to. Tesla is pivoting to it. Toyota is pivoting its electric batteries to it. Ford and GM are doing the same, and a variety of manufacturers are moving towards that. So the real issue here is there's a huge risk that Congo's cobalt could become stranded in the next few years. And the government of Congo would have to wear that hat on there and start to think critically, what's the way to avert, the stranding of their minerals? Because there are huge implications from an economic standpoint for a country that depends very hugely on minerals.
Now, could you quickly explain the difference between these? You're saying this rush you mentioned, pivoting to LFP batteries. What's the difference between LFP batteries and the cobalt-type batteries?
Great question. So I'm going to try not to be technical here, but essentially, cobalt-type batteries, use cobalt as the cathode material in a battery. Essentially, it stabilizes. It has huge advantages, particularly for batteries of vehicles where you need sharp acceleration. The sharp acceleration, cobalt in there allows the battery to release a lot more power, and ultimately you can accelerate very quickly. So that's a huge advantage of it. The problem with cobalt-type batteries is there's what we call thermal runaway, and that's a risk of short-circuiting. So when you're driving your car, sometimes, short-circuit and lead to fire. And this is general. If you look online, you see many instances where, a battery of a car catches fire. So there are safety concerns, but from an operational standpoint, cobalt-type batteries, which are called NMC, are by far the ones with the highest power density or energy density, and they operate far better. LFP, on the other side, which is where people are moving to, it has a lot less degradation over time. It's much safer, if you like, and it recycles better. So you can put it into landfill compared to cobalt-type batteries. But generally, from an operational standpoint, batteries from the DRC, from Congo, operate far better, scores better than LFP batteries.
But I see that the need to shift it's also linked to the fact that the way cobalt is sourced from Congo. You're seeing child labor cases. You're seeing other risks. You're seeing other concerns that have been raised, by the international community. Is that one of the reasons why we're seeing this rapid shift, or is it just because of the fact that it's a new thing?
Absolutely will, and that's a really important point. So social responsibility is a huge factor in there. So some of the practices we've seen coming out of the Congo, some of the practices, child labor, and there's a huge conflict going on there. Some of the proceeds from cobalt have gone into financing the civil war that's happening in the DRC and all of that. So these are some of the issues again that the international community have put on the table, and they're pivoting away from cobalt. But just to be very clear, these issues are not entirely unique to the Congo. Let's be clear about that. If you look at lithium mining, for instance, there are huge lithium deposits also in South America, and they also have the same issues. You look at nickel, you look at manganese, you look at graphite, all of these metals, even rare earth metals in China and, around the world, all of these, the mining practices it has within its supply chains some unethical practices in there. So it's not entirely unique to the Congo, which is why there's a huge pushback from the African community around that. Yes, there are issues with it, but fundamentally, we need to put everything in context.
So, but if this country's transition from cobalt-based to LFP-based batteries, what potential implications might this have on the economy of Congo?
That's a great question. So Congo is a country with 110 million people. So much of those depend on proceeds coming out of solid minerals, critical minerals. Cobalt is not the only thing on the plate that they offer. They've got huge lithium deposits, they've got huge nickel deposits. Much of those are energy transition metals. But without a doubt, cobalt is their competitive advantage. Think about this, Will. 70% of global cobalt supply comes from Congo, from one country. So that's their chokehold on the globe. Many countries are trying to take off that chokehold and try to socialize this. And the whole move into LFP, we're seeing, yes, LFP is incredible. It opens up opportunities for Morocco, opens up opportunities for Egypt and Tunisia and a few countries. But I think without a doubt, the implications here for Congo is we would start to see social inequality and perhaps them going further into debt because much of the minerals they have, which they put onto the market, onto international markets, much of those will become stranded, rather unfortunately.
And definitely, we shouldn't be transitioning into the use of electric vehicles at the cost of people and the environment. Thank you so much, Chinandikwa, Vice Chair, African Energy Council, for the perspective on the program.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.